This man is trying to save his family from bloodthirsty zombies, but soon they realize he's worse than any of them. A car drives down an empty road. Its windows are smeared with something red. A man named Francis is behind the wheel. His wife, Iris, sits next to him. Their sons, Joshua and Lucas, are in the back seat. It looks like their car was recently in an accident. They arrive at a small two-story house. At first glance, it appears that burglars broke in not long ago. Francis listens carefully to every sound and goes upstairs. Everything there is also turned upside down. We see a family portrait hanging on the wall. In one of the rooms, the man finds a body on the bed. It's Francis's father. Flies buzz around him. The old man has a pistol in his hand. Francis takes it. He also removes his father's watch and slips it into his pocket. In the hallway, Francis notices a woman, his late mother. Sadly, she's now a zombie and crawls toward her son with a wild scream. Francis has no choice but to use the gun. It seems the world has fallen into a zombie apocalypse, and the main characters are ready to do whatever it takes to avoid becoming someone's dinner. Francis and his family decide to stay in this house for a while. There's an underground well with drinking water, which means their chances of survival just got a little higher. Francis and Joshua go to check out a barn not far from the house. Inside, they find a cage with live chickens and a body. It's the caretaker who used to look after their home. Apparently, he preferred to take his own life rather than turn into a zombie. Francis gives Lucas a piece of sugarcane. We can see that the man clearly loves his younger son much more than his older one. Iris shows her husband the basement under the house. There's an old generator down there. Francis freezes in fear. His father used to lock him in this very basement when he was a child. The memories are so painful that the man nearly has a panic attack. At dinner, the family discusses what to do next. Their food supplies won't last long. There's no electricity and no cell service. Iris suggests heading north, but Francis insists they stay where they are. That night, Joshua tries to get a phone signal and text his girlfriend, but his phone battery dies completely. We learn that Francis and Iris think about getting a divorce. Francis found out that Iris had cheated on him, and that Joshua's biological father is actually his own brother, Diego. It's very hard for the man to forgive his unfaithful wife. A few days later, the family decides to head north after all. Unfortunately, they can't get past a checkpoint, since the road is blocked by abandoned vehicles. Iris gets out of the car and walks ahead, trying to move the barricade that's blocking their way. Suddenly, a zombie guard appears behind the woman. Apparently, he just wants to check her pass. Francis rushes to save his wife. His gun helps him take down the zombie, but he's not alone. There are dozens of them. The zombies surround the car and try to break inside. They're quite fast, by the way. While Francis distracts the undead, Iris pulls the children out of the car and rushes away with them. Francis runs out of bullets. He fights the zombies with his bare hands and feet, jumps from car to car like a real ninja, and then uses a grenade he's just found. The family walks back home. They've managed to survive, but now they don't have a car. 2 weeks later, Francis returns to the checkpoint to retrieve their van. He gets behind the wheel and starts the engine, but suddenly changes his mind and goes back home without it. Instead, he carries fuel for the old generator he found in the basement and lies to his wife, saying the van is broken. Down in the basement, Francis once again feels a panic attack coming on. He overcomes his fear, pours the fuel into the generator, and the house finally lights up. Now they have not only electricity, but also air conditioning. They can even play their grandmother's old gramophone and enjoy some music. Francis and the boys are thrilled, but Iris looks far from happy. She doesn't want to stay in this house. Francis puts on a videotape of their wedding. He and Iris looked so happy back then. It seemed like their life together would be perfect, but everything went wrong. Despite all the pain, Francis is ready to forgive his wife's betrayal. And it seems she's ready to give their relationship a second chance too. The boys look through old family photo albums. Lucas notices that Joshua looks a lot like their uncle Diego. The brothers discuss their family problems. They hope their parents will finally make peace and stop being so sad. In the morning, Francis goes out to the chicken coop and spots a vicious dog nearby. It bites him on the arm and runs away. Iris worries that her husband might have contracted rabies. Joshua keeps running around with his radio receiver. At one point, he manages to catch a signal from a refugee camp. Apparently, there's a safe zone somewhere nearby. Francis doesn't believe his son and tells the family to stop thinking about nonsense. Why risk everything and leave the safety of their home again? Joshua asks his father to turn on the generator, but instead, Francis decides to teach him how to use a gun. He sets up a target in the field and makes the boy shoot at it. The noise draws Iris and Lucas to the spot. The loud gunfire attracts a whole horde of zombies. The family runs back to the house and barricades themselves inside. The zombies surround them, leaving no way out. Slowly but surely, they begin breaking in. A car pulls up to the mansion and starts honking. The zombies turn away from the house and chase after the vehicle. The family realizes that someone has just saved them. Morning comes. Francis steps outside. There isn't a single zombie left in the yard. Unfortunately, they tore apart all the chickens during the night. It turns out that their savior is Diego. The two brothers don't get along very well. Diego suggests they join forces and head north together. Francis refuses and even threatens his brother, still hating him for his affair with Iris. Before leaving, Diego gives Francis a map showing the way to a safe zone, then drives off alone. Francis almost burns the map, but eventually decides to keep it. He doesn't tell his wife anything about his meeting with Diego, and keeps reinforcing the house to make sure the zombies won't be able to break in. Lucas chases a fly around the house and goes down to the basement with a fly swatter in his hand. He notices a shadowy figure outside the window. It's a zombie! Iris calms her son down. She's noticed that over time, the zombies are growing weaker and starting to die. That means this nightmare might soon be over. Francis overhears their conversation. He makes sure his wife is right. The zombies gradually turn into frail old creatures and are no longer as dangerous as before. Yet this news doesn't make Francis happy at all. He smears his clothes with blood and starts screaming wildly, pretending he's been attacked by zombies. The man forces his family to barricade themselves inside the house and forbids them from going outside. It seems his mental state is rapidly deteriorating. Francis decorates a Christmas tree, even though it's only September. He announces that tonight, the family will celebrate Christmas. At dinner, Joshua admits to his father that he saw the map in his room, but Francis lies, saying he doesn't have any map. Then he suggests to Iris that they should have a third child. In response, the woman says she wants to leave him. Francis explodes, pulls out the map Diego gave him, and burns it in front of his family. Afterward, he calmly resumes eating. The next day, Francis harvests sugar cane from his plantation, and at night, he barricades the house so that no one can leave. Suddenly, someone knocks on their door. A stranger outside introduces himself as a wounded soldier named Corcuera. Joshua manages to let the man inside. Corcuera explains that his squad was ambushed by zombies. He survived only thanks to a man who showed him the way to this mansion. Iris realizes that the man was Diego. At dawn, Joshua wakes his mother. The boy says he can no longer live with his psychopathic father and leaves to find his uncle Diego. In the morning, everyone gathers for breakfast. Francis notices that Joshua is missing. Realizing his older son has run away, he flies into a rage. Francis grabs a hammer, gets rid of the wounded soldier, locks Iris and Lucas in the basement, and calmly continues eating, surrounded by the buzzing of flies. Outside, he notices the same dog that had bitten him earlier. Later that day, Francis opens the basement door and serves his wife and son some fried meat. Iris forbids Lucas from eating it. Francis loses his temper, throws the plate, and starts another argument with his wife. Iris keeps a close eye on the small knife her husband brought with him, but Francis notices this and takes the knife back. Then, Iris and Lucas come up with a different plan. Lucas pretends to be sick and starts screaming loudly. Francis rushes to his son, and at that moment, Iris knocks him out. The woman grabs her son and locks her deranged husband in the basement. Francis has a panic attack, haunted by the terrible memories of his childhood. Iris and Lucas open the front door, but face a new danger behind it: Zombie Diego. The two hide inside the house, but the zombie catches up to them, and a violent struggle begins. Diego attacks Lucas and bites the boy. Francis hears his family's screams, comes to his senses, and escapes from the basement. He kills the zombie and saves his wife and son. Lucas shows his parents the wound on his arm, which means he'll soon turn into a zombie too. Francis freezes in horror, while Iris performs a desperate operation on the boy. She has no choice but to remove the infected arm. Iris yells to her husband that they must get to a hospital immediately. Francis returns to the checkpoint to retrieve their van. There, he finds Joshua holding a rifle. The youngster mistakes his father for a zombie and pulls the trigger. Realizing his terrible mistake, Joshua begs for forgiveness. For the first time in many years, Francis calls him "my son" and closes his eyes forever. Joshua gets behind the wheel of the van and drives off to save his mother and brother.